Ladies and gentlemen of the rock and roll, punk, prog, hardcore, thrash, and heavy metal community, my name is Jason Evans, and this is the Great Metal Standoff, the podcast that pits music's greatest albums in track-by-track combat. I hesitate to call this battle the start of a second series of Grunge Month, but with Alice in Chains' 2009 return album Black Gives Way to Blue stepping up against Alter Bridge's 2004 debut record One Day Remains, both albums have a direct or indirect connection to the era. In fact, I specifically requested regular guests, Jacob and Imran, to join me in this examination of the birth of two different but all new eras for the people involved in these bands. In fact, I had two specific questions I put forward to link these two albums together in combat. So let's not waste any time, and let's have Imran, Jacob, and myself share what we think about Black Gives Way and One Day Remains and who gets the W. Here's how the battle will go. Every album battle will be contested in track-by-track format by our podcast panel. Each individual panelist will select a winner of each pairing. The winning track receives a point to that individual's tally score. Tracks on albums that go uncontested can receive a tally point if a panelist awards it a gold star. Once the battle is over, the album with the highest tally score will receive 1 grand point for that album. If a panelist's tally score results in a draw, both albums will receive a half grand point each. The album with the most grand points will be declared the winner. One final thing before we start, this battle marks 10 guest appearances for Imran, so I've also got an announcement to make regarding his status on this show. But more importantly, it's Black Gives Way to Blue versus One Day Remains. Over to Jacob, Imran, and I. Roll the audio. Jacob, welcome back to the standoff. Good to see you again. It's been a little while, actually, and things have changed since you were last on. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I haven't been on since we talked about Nickelback and Creed with it's been so long, and I'm happy to be back with two bands that are very, very good, but we'll get into that as we go.
I'm not quite sure whether I want to start this battle by calling it Grunge Month 2, because there's a little bit of elements with it, but obviously there's considerable differences. But one thing I can say for sure is that making his 10th appearance is Imran. So Imran, welcome back to the show. Let's make one thing official. Let's make this a bit of a milestone, Imran. You've done 10 of these. I think it's time the Great Metal Standoff introduces a brand new co-host, and that can be you, Imran.
I'm so honoured.
How's it feel? 10 episodes of these? 10 guest appearances.
I feel like I've moved up in the world.
It's about bloody time. We have a doozy, folks. And also, I just wanted to say, I've brought the three of us together because, first of all, Jacob has done a few before, but never with just myself and Imran. It's always been either a three-way or he's done it with some other guests. And Imran and I've brought Imran in here just so the two of us can debate. Because we've debated Alice in Chains off the air multiple times, and this record gets brought into it, and some heavy discourse is discussed. So let's air this on the pod. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Oh, yeah. I'm very excited too.
Very, very interested to lay down some opinions on both of these.
Alter Bridge, Jacob, you are a bit more of a bigger fan of the band, I would assume, than both Imran and I. However, we're going to discuss definitely later on how Jacob and I have a slight connection to the band, whether it be subconsciously or not, whether we realise it or not. But where were you when you first heard an Alter Bridge song, Jacob?
So I have a feeling you know exactly where I was when I heard a Alter Bridge song for the first time, and we'll get into that.
That's
when
called
we get
foreshadowing,
there, of course.
Kids.
But I would have been maybe 6 or 8 or something like that. It would have been very, around that age when I first heard the song that I heard. I'm not going to spoil it now. And I remember being very taken aback and going, this is the kind of music I really, really, really like. And for me, with this album in particular, as I got older, I'd find different songs from this album separately, whether it be, just through suggestions, through something like Spotify or something like that. But I never bothered until now to really listen to the album in one go. However, I can say very, very confidently that the good parts of this album are some of my favorite pieces of music ever. So Alice in Chains is a bit of a challenge.
Imran, we on this show have gone through the entire Lane Staley era of Alice in Chains. Here we are now in 2009, their first record ever since the passing of Lane Staley, the introduction of William DuVall. First thoughts, Immy?
You know me. I'm probably one of the biggest Alice in Chains fans that you know. Probably. This is the first time I've ever listened to Black Gives Way to Blue.
Is it really?
It is. As of yesterday, when I listened to this from front to back, this is the first time I've ever listened to this album. I think there's a few songs that I've heard from wherever that have been on this album, that I re-listened to, and I think, oh, I've heard this one before. But yeah, from front to back, properly listening to this has been the first time. I've listened to every other Alice in Chains album, including The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here and Rainier Fog, and all of the Lane Staley ones, obviously. But this was the first time I listened to this. And
Why the delay, Imran? Why the delay?
honestly, I don't know. I, I don't know. I don't want to say I regret putting it off because I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't know the delay. There's something about it that just never sucked me in before. And when you pitched this to me, I thought, well, this is a good opportunity to actually listen to this album in full. So why not?
There are a lot of questions we can be asking about both of these records. On Alice in Chains' side, it's the first record ever since the passing of Lane Staley, so it's a band continuing its legacy with a new lineup in William DuVall. They've changed singers. How are they going to hold up? With Alter Bridge, it comes after the dissolution of Creed. As you know, Jacob, we discussed Creed on a previous podcast. We put them up against Nickelback. One Day Remains came out in August 2004. Creed it was announced to the public that Creed had broken up around about June 2004. So there's not much time in between where it's public knowledge that Creed had gone and this record comes out. It's the same band. It's Mark Tremonti, Brian Marshall, and Scott Phillips on guitar, bass, and drums respectively. But they've made a new band and bring in a new singer. So the question we have here is, how does the new singer hold up in this brand new band? Spoiler alert, Miles Kennedy, the singer for Alter Bridge, is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very much so. It's I will say a very iconic voice. Not iconic in the same way as some larger bands from forever and ever, but it's a very recognizable voice. Once you hear it, you know you're listening to Alter Bridge.
The second question we could also be asking is, what happened after grunge died? Because it pretty much did end around about the passing of Kurt Cobain, the final Alice in Chains record with Lane Staley being the Tripod album. That I kind of deemed it on one of the previous podcasts that was probably the funeral for grunge, the self-titled Alice in Chains album, because it was so dingy and dark and so compressed. Black Gives Way to Blue is what happened to one of the big four after the era had ended, and also, once it ended, we had that post-grunge period of the late 90s, early 2000s, and the Alter Bridge is born out of the ashes of that era too. So it kind of leads the way for, the more contemporary style of hard rock and metal kind of thing. I'm not sure if that's an accurate statement, but Jacob?
I think I kind of agree with you. This was the 2000s were fascinating for that. And I think Alter Bridge, as you said, came out of Creed very much, and that music was reminiscent of grunge, obviously being post-grunge, also having a bit of that alternate style kind of mixed in. But I think this is close to not the end of it, but the real last hurrah of its radio popularity. It was the last time you'll hear it on a average radio station. It was 2006 to 9 was fascinating. Of course, this album being much earlier, but still very much being found in popularity around that time. I think this is fascinating because this, to me at least, is the last hurrah of grunge before it became much, much, much more niche. Even if it's not completely grunge or post-grunge or anything like that on both sides, both Alter Bridge and Alice in Chains.
I think going as far to say it's the last hurrah of grunge from an Alter Bridge perspective wouldn't be the most accurate thing to say in the world, but it's definitely the embarking of goodbye post-grunge, hello this new era of rock.
Yeah.
And the final question I have for Imran is, Black Gives Way to Blue, Imran, I wouldn't call this one a grunge record. Would you?
Honestly, nah. it's very different in sound and like production. And some of the songs you could argue that they're grungy songs, but it's not a grunge album. It's a lot more modern. I think it kind of takes that direction of not necessarily like the Alter Bridge kind of sound, but like the more modern direction, kind of delving into new sounds. Yeah, it's a lot more well produced, I think. Not that grunge wasn't well produced, just that like it's very crispy and clean. I don't think it's a grunge album.
They created their core sound from that era and they carried it over and made it more contemporary with this new record, for this new release at this particular
Yeah,
moment in 2009.
definitely. I think
Well,
it's because they had the means to, I guess. And
Yeah.
I guess a new era brings a new sound.
well, plenty to talk about. Timekeeper, ring the bell. Let's begin this battle with All Secrets Known versus Find the Real. I just wanted to kick this right out of the gate. All Secrets Known. I made this point on a previous Alice in Chains podcast, but I still think that this mindset is a good one to have. When on the self-titled album, the last song with Lane Staley as a lead singer is the song Frogs, and how grim that song is. And then Over Now ends the record with Jerry Cantrell singing, and it's very pep in its step. It's like, we pay our debts sometime. Obviously in 2002 we lose Lane Staley, but here on the first record back, the first record in over a decade, and track 1 starts with the lyrics, hope, a new beginning. That is, come on. You can't get more full circle than that. And just this dingy, dirty, chunky riff as this record kicks off. Wow-wee. Jacob, as our guest, please continue this debate for us.
Oh, so I'll stick on All Secrets Known for the moment. But everything about this to me it's what I wanted Alice in Chains to be for the longest time. You talked about the previous. I've never liked them. I've never been able to get into them properly. And this sound, as much as it feels more produced, it feels much more like it has a direction that it's going for, in a weird way to put it. But something about this as an opener feels really, really nice. The opening to it, just the duh, 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 that climbing melody is really, really interesting to have throughout the whole way. It keeps you invested the entire time because you feel like it's going to jump over to something. It doesn't really do that much. The vocals, this is what I wanted from Dirt. This is what I wanted from everything else in Alice in Chains. This feels like the best of it. It feels distant and ominous, but somehow not having any sort of eeriness or scariness to it. It very much just feels like there's something going on over there. The beat to it I thought was fantastic. It keeps you engaged. The transition to the heavier chorus, I'm very, very big on, a bad transition ruins a song. This was a great transition. It's very subtle. The solo, fantastic. And it has this little Arabian Nights kind of feeling to it. Something that I've noticed Alice in Chains has done a lot in what I've listened to, at least. And it's very, very good. And the bridge, I love it. It's simple, but effective in breaking up the song and adding a new twist, while also being able to seamlessly transition back to the rest of the song. This song is very, very, very good. It honestly may be a little bit long and a little bit repetitive, maybe 40 seconds too long for me. But elsewise, I think it's a very, very strong opening. I could talk about Find the Real quite a lot, but before I do, Imran, I want to hear your opinion on this.
Well, I agree with pretty much everything that you said. I like the swinging riff. I'm pretty sure it's in 3/4. It's a bit off kilter. It's very dark. It's very open. The vocals are very ominous, which I really like. The drums are really cool. It uses some more toms instead of like a traditional drum beat. The chorus is how it just opens up. It's freaking cool. I love it. I get kind of Deftones vibes from this song. How it's like very, very well produced, very big, very dreamy vocals. I gotta say, I disagree with your take on the Alice in Chains. How you said that you don't like their scary stuff. Their scary stuff is their best stuff. But this song is great though. I gotta say,
Mm.
that's
It
just my
is.
opinion, I guess.
I agree with it. It's a fantastic song, but unfortunately for this song, it comes up against another one, and oh boy, Find the Real. Oh, I'm gonna have very strong opinions on this. I'll throw it to someone else. Jason.
Before you
Jason, I
get
can see
too
you want to.
far, I was shocked by how post-grungy this song sounded.
Well, Find the Real.
Yeah, Find the Real. Honestly, I was shocked. It sounded so late '90s post-grunge, but it went straight into it, and then I heard this really weird gritty vocal come out of Miles Kennedy, and I'm like, wow, that's how he got introduced. Jeepers! It's I think it's a song that has grown on me, but first impression, I was going, whoa, what's this?
It's a bit like that. It's a bit of a slap straight away because it does immediately just bump out the door. And you're right, those vocals. When I didn't even think about that as being how he was introduced, but it does surprise you actually.
Well,
But
keep in
yeah,
mind with how much of a range Miles Kennedy would go on to have even on this record, for him to come
Hmm.
out right out of the gate and go, stuck in the middle, foraging time, sounding like, he's sounding like a grunge singer. I'm sitting there thinking, what?
I mean, he does it a fair lot throughout this album, a little bit closer to the middle and later album. I think he does a bit more, if I've got my notes correct. But like, I think it's a good introduction to this song because you're hearing it and you're going to immediately hear a sound that you're, kind of familiar with that post grunge sound. But the open is so incredibly strong. It's immediately fun. It's immediately interesting, and it catches you, and that's part of I think why they did that. The guitar blends extremely well with those more gritty vocals. The style, I've got in my notes, literally works amazingly. And it just continues to keep you invested. It's super catchy. Like this feels very, like it feels late 90s, but it also feels like early 2000s where things were meant to be more catchy, more radio-esque. It was early 2000s, but point still stands. Drums are fantastic, I found. Breakdown for me is one of my favorite things. To me, it's a taste of what's to come within this album. It doesn't do too much of anything to service this song too much, but it's different and exciting, and you can feel like it's going somewhere the entire time. The solo, it's fun. It's not overly special, but it helps make the song, its own. While the choruses themselves are just fantastic. The vocals, the backing vocals coming in during the chorus are amazing for me. The last chorus feels like such an upbeat, almost hurrah for this. And it has the same problem for me that admittedly All Secrets Known had, and I think that's about 45 seconds too long. This feels like it should have been a little bit shorter, but I can't really complain about that. And there is a particular part of the song in the pre-chorus, the lyric, all I take and I hunger for more. The way that's sung and the way you can really feel like Miles is, really getting into that. I don't know, this song feels fun. It kind of encapsulates what to expect from Alter Bridge within this album. It is a very strong open for me.
I want to pick up where you were early when you were talking about radio-friendly, catchy chorus. It feels very spat out in that kind of delivery, and to the point of, if this song sounds 45 seconds too long, I think it needs to be that long by how long Kennedy holds that note at the final chorus. Like, as much as I was shocked by the post-grunge nature at the start of the track won me over by the time he held that thing on. He went, and then just ended with like the yeah, and had that climactic moment. It won me over, but I don't know. Imran, what do you got?
That part definitely, like, I kind of agree with Jacob how this song is a bit too long, but that part at the end did suck me back in a little bit. The vocals on this song, you guys refer to them as very grungy. They are very Cornell-esque vocals. Yeah. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Miles Kennedy got most of his singing inspiration from Chris Cornell because they've got very similar singing styles. But Yeah, Find the Real is a very cool song. It's got a very good groove. It's got really thick bass. I can actually hear the bass. I like a song where I can hear the bass. It's funky, it's catchy. The I particularly like the moans during the solo, like the singing in the background. It's a cool song, but I don't know if it's as good as All Secrets Known. I think that's going to be my pick out of these two. It's
Ooh.
it, I think All Secrets Known has a bit of an edge to it, a bit something that like stands out a bit more, that I think makes me want to listen to that more than the Alter Bridge song.
Hmm.
Yeah, I see what
I
you
get
mean.
I get where you're coming from. I think for me, I'm very split on this one. They're both fantastic songs, great opens.
And
But I
strong
think,
statements, like strong, like
very
emphatic
strong.
statements.
But I think personally, and this is more of a personal preference in this, I love the more fun, catchy feeling of Find the Real. And it's one of those songs where second, third time listening, I couldn't help but like mouth along to and really get into alongside the vocals. It catches you. It really does. So I think that's where I'm going to stay with that.
Find the Real for Jacob. Mine point will lie at All Secrets Known for the edgier undertone that Imran's suggesting there. But yeah, Find the Real I think has won me over in due time. It is a strong opener. It's a case of we're a brand new band. Check out our brand new singer. Get ready. Oh, get ready, world. That's kind of that kind of feel. And to the same extent with All Secrets Known, but that's more of picking yourself back up and carrying on. And I just like the whole. I think that little fan theory in my head is kind of what's bringing All Secrets Known across the line for me on that particular battle. But that's a very strong opening battle here. Good job, Alice in Chains and Alter Bridge. Great start. Track 2, Check My Brain versus One Day Remains. Check My Brain being one of the singles, One Day Remains being the title track for Alter Bridge. We'll start with Imran here.
I'm glad I'm starting here because I just really want to point out that One Day Remains, that opener is literally just Jesus Christ pose.
Oh,
The
okay. I
feedback,
don't think I picked that up.
the feedback guitar slowly coming in, and then that drum pattern, that is exactly how Jesus Christ Pose by Soundgarden starts. I don't know if that was intentional, if that was some kind of homage, or if they just did that because they thought it was original. Who knows? But yeah, the first thing that I noticed was, yeah, that. But I mean, then that really fast-paced riff comes in, and suddenly it's not Jesus Christ Pose anymore. Yeah, One Day Remains is a really interesting song. I kind of feel like this is a song that would be on like a Sonic video game soundtrack because it's super fast-paced and really just like it just sounds like something that would be in a video game soundtrack.
I completely agree with that.
Before
Yeah,
you continue, Imran, points to Scott Phillips on the drums there, who is the person who is setting that pace there.
yes. There's some really good drums on this song. I do really like the drums. I like how the riffs, everything is all fast, but the vocals are kind of like a bit more behind, a bit slower, a bit more laid back. The chorus was pretty catchy. I will admit the chorus got stuck in my head at one point. It was pretty good. Nothing about this track though really stood out to me too much though. It's just kind of it's just like it's a fast-paced, fun track. I question a little bit why they chose this one as the title track, but like it's a good track, but I don't know if it could have been. I don't know if they could have picked a different song to be the title track. What do you think, Jacob?
I'm interested by that. I do think it's not the strongest track on this album, which is a shame because it is a very strong track in my opinion. As you said, it's very fun and catchy. The build to the open is fantastic. As much as you said it's taken, I still think it's great. The drums throughout the entire song, fantastic. And this song to me is made up by that guitar riff. It is exciting and fantastic. It almost feels like the entirety of the song was kind of built around the riff. And it works fantastically. The vocals blend in with it. As you said, they're a little bit slower, but they somehow manage to keep up in a weird way. The song is so fast, it's upbeat, it's fun. It's one of those songs where it's really also very fun to sing. As you said, it got stuck in your head, and there's a reason for that. All my notes are mostly about the instrumentation being fantastic. But the vocals going up and down to make them sound almost ever changing and somewhat unpredictable is part of why this song stands out to me. Because as much as the guitar is the shining light of this song to me, the vocals add so much. The chorus is unbelievable fun. And when you do get to thinking about how the song is actually laid out, the vocals for me are powerful and big, but are never overpowering. They never overtake the full song. They kind of feel like they're in the back a little bit. The breakdown and the bridge are fantastic to me. To me, this is one of my favorite songs on the album. It's not the strongest, but it's one of the ones that I can go back to and just listen to without any sort of problem, any sort of second thought, really get into. I don't think it's the most, technically impressive song or anything like that, but I think for how much fun it is, how catchy it is, that riff alone, it's just, I love this one. I love this one.
Conversely, Check My Brain, Imran.
Check My Brain. It's a fun song. Was this a single off of
This was a single.
album?
I think it was the first single. It wouldn't have been, spoiler alert, the first publicly released song off this record was A Looking in View, but to be officially a single was Check My Brain. Just for me, before you go on, Imran, I've liked the song Check My Brain, but when we were taking notes for recording this pod, I started thinking, when you think about it, it's only really just a one-note song, because the down, that's all just off one note, and then it's hammered on another, and then there's some basic stuff going on in the chorus. So I was sitting here thinking, there's not really much to talk about this song instrumentally, but it is a nice little package.
Yeah, I didn't write much about this song because they're like you said, it's that kind of very simple. It's a very classic Alice in Chains riff where it's got one or two notes, very bendy kind of stuff on the bottom string. Very cool stuff, but yeah, it's just like something you definitely hear from Alice in Chains. Yeah, the chorus is catchy. It's got that California. Yeah. Got that Red Hot Chili Peppers reference. It's a fun song. It's
I kind of agree with that. I do think it is a very fun song, and that California part is maybe one of my favorite parts of this song. No, but it is actually, mainly because usually from Alice in Chains, the effects I've never been a big fan of, but for some reason this song makes them work for me really, really well. They're not the most effective, not the most effective. They're not the strongest effects or anything like that, but it's subtle. It sounds like they're talking through an engine. And then when you get to that California, Here I Come, it really dials down on the effect, and it just becomes more of a almost guttural kind of noise, and that I love. It's a very fun song, as you said. The chorus is very catchy for how slow it is. The bridge, it's all right. It's not amazing. It's very serviceable. But the little things like the oh yeah every now and then, it helps add this to be a very strangely slow, fun song with that main melody. It's pretty good. This song just feels like a very funky, slow jam. Something I wouldn't expect from Alice in Chains, to be honest, but I kind of like it.
I mean, I would disagree with saying this is something you wouldn't expect from Alice, because this is definitely one of the most Alice in Chains songs I've ever heard. I'm pretty sure I've heard this somewhere before I listened to this album.
Oh, definitely,
yeah. But like the first listen, I thought, oh yeah, this is Alice in Chains, like definitely 100%. I would not imagine any other band. Like if I heard another band writing a song like this, I would immediately think, these guys obviously listen to Alice in Chains. It's got Alice in Chains written all over it.
Now I have a question for you, Imran, because for a vast majority of this song, Check My Brain, it's Cantrell and Duvall both singing pretty much dual vocals throughout the entire song. I want to get your opinion on that. Now, how do you see the dynamic at this point?
I don't mind it. I think comparing them to like Cantrell and Staley, I don't want to do that because, it's two different sounds.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair.
it's really not fair. But personally, I don't mind it. I like it's like I said, it's an Alice in Chains song. It needs that dual vocal thing going, and I think Duval does the job. He's a very good singer. So
Getting
yeah,
down dirty and dissecting this record has made me really appreciate how good Duvall is and how real good of a
yeah,
fit he ended up being. Uh, this conversation, gentlemen, I before going into this, I would have probably gone check my brain by default, but then I started thinking, One Day Remains is pretty good, but I think this conversation is steering me back to check my brain, you know?
That riff though, that riff, like run your mind through that riff is an entire song, and it's one of the most catchy riffs you're ever going to hear, and it's only accentuated by things like the drums and the vocals. It does very much feel like they got one amazing riff and then wrote a song around it, and bam, it's one of the catchiest songs of that year. I can't even think of what came out that year, but to me, it's one of the catchiest things I can think of.
Yeah, well,
It's
and well,
deceptively slow.
we're complimenting the drums. That's Sean Kinney there. Great work there, Sean. That's actually a name we haven't really delved deep on, even though we've talked about three
he's
different Alice in Chains
such
records.
an
So I feel a
underrated
bit bad
drummer.
about that. But yeah, Sean Kinney is a good drummer for the band. I'll go check my brain. It was a toss up. I'll take check my brain again. Captain's call here. What are you two taking?
I'm going to take
Very good.
One Day Remains. It's too fun of a song for me to avoid.
Nah, and totally understand. That's a good choice.
Great. I need to pick now. I'm actually, these are both great songs. Um, Look, I'm gonna stick with what I know. I'm gonna go check my brain just because that like the chorus is forever gonna be in my brain.
Agreed. Seriously, there were various moments where I would have gone One Day Remains, but I think the conversation we've had has steered me back to it. As I said, next one up. This one's a competitive one too. Last of My Kind versus Open Your Eyes. Last of My Kind being the only song led by William Duvall on vocals, and damn, this one gets dingy. This one is heavy. You can feel the chug in this one, Imran.
Last of My Kind is a brutal. I wasn't expecting them to get this brutal, like this early into the album too. Because All Secrets Known is it's kind of nice. It's dark, but it's nice. Check My Brain has got that classic funky, like tamer kind of Alice in Chains sound. And then Last of My Kind, oh, I got smacked in the face. It's very good. It's it's got that classic chuggy riff. It's got a very crispy sound to it. This is kind of where I like you could really tell the difference between pre old Alice in Chains versus new Alice in Chains, like that dynamic and sound. The pre-chorus, that chuggy riff with those really brutal vocals.
Trapped in the cold outside. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It kind of gives me Maynard James Keenan vibes. Those
How so?
vocals.
That's curious. How so?
I don't know. I just like the scream, the power, the passion. I don't know, but listening to it, I just thought I could imagine Maynard doing it, and I think it was the song maybe as well, just the chugging, like circular riff. I don't know, kind of off kilter, bit different. It's just a really heavy song, very straight, very different, just brutal. I don't know, but it's a good song. It's kind of this is what I was hoping to hear. This is that spooky Alice in Chains that I wanted to hear.
It's definitely
Um,
spooky.
Definitely.
mean-
There's a little guitar break in it with some like really cool guitar like feedback sounds. I really liked that part because I think it was before the solo. The little break with the kind of guitar sounds that just like yeah, Jerry Cantrell. I Jerry Cantrell before no, not before, after they found a new singer. I feel like he kind of unlocked a new like guitar style, which I definitely starts from this album and continues on the later ones, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here and Rainier Fog. But yeah, like little things that he does, his like the sounds that he makes and stuff. Last of My Kind, I definitely reckon highlights that. Yeah, such a cool song, just brutal.
Whereas Jacob, Open Your Eyes, that's very creedy.
Oh, see, I was a big fan of some of what Creed did. Obviously, not everything they did was great by a long shot, but I was a big fan of some parts of them. And this has that almost heroic kind of movie-esque feeling to it that some of the more popular songs from Creed's discography did. It's very upbeat, and it kind of gives off a weirdly inspirational vibe. The way it dips back down after going up is amazing. The guitar relaxes, the drums relax. No, they don't actually. The drums and the vocals shine. I read that wrong. And I think that's part of where this album shines. Not this album. This song shines. Are those vocals? They really just stand out here. The chorus, as I said, uplifting, singable, fun. In my notes, I've got exactly what I want from a chorus. The way the song transitions from upbeat to relaxed, as I said, fantastic. Song is fantastic. The breakdown, it hints at another song, actually. That's probably the one thing that took me away more than anything. We'll get to it eventually, but there's a melody that's played in the song "In Loving Memory," which is a little later on, and that's actually played during the breakdown, which to me is a nice little bit of storytelling and hinting at what I'll be completely honest is probably the best song on either album, which I think they knew that it was the best on that album. The breakdown, though, itself is very soft and fun. It builds back up to an epic sound whilst keeping that fun involved. That solo is to die for. It's not the most technically intense or anything like that, but it has this element that Alter Bridge has seemingly kept throughout the entire album so far, and that's fun. This is very fun. It's very catchy. It's very easy to get into. And like many songs on the album, this song, if you listen to the lyrics, it's about different regrets and so on and so on. However, the chorus seems to be encouraging, the thought process of peace and so on. This song, to me, it's the most Creedy I can think of, but my God, it took all the best parts of Creed and changed it up and made it really, really fun. But that's not to say that Last of My Kind is not fantastic. These are very different songs. I'm curious to hear what you think, Jason.
To the point you're saying about the heroic sounding chorus, you cannot tell me with a straight face that you can't hear Scott Stapp going, "What a hope in your eyes," that kind of thing.
That's why I love it. It's Scott so much fun.
Yep, you're darn right. Like, Miles Kennedy kills it, but the sound suits Scott Stapp as well. I've also got in here, there was another little bit of a qualm I actually had a little bit with the first couple of tracks with One Day Remains, and that is Kennedy and Tremonti developed that the vocal duel throughout their entire careers, and just uncovering a little bit of Alter Bridge for myself before recording, and before we recorded this podcast, I'd listened to AB3 from start to finish. I don't think they hit their stride yet on this one. Like, they nail it on songs like Slip to the Void, which comes out in a couple of records later, but I don't think they've quite hit their stride just yet here. But it sounded a bit better on Open Your Eyes than it did Find the Real. Other than that, Kennedy, he digs deep for some of those vocal harmonies in there, and it felt like a very summertime, carefree kind of song in terms of the fun theme that you were talking about there, Jacob.
As I said, that's what this album keeps with for a while, is that fun, and I think that's where this album's almost sound throughout the entire thing. If you listen to this song, song 1, 2, 3, 4, it almost very well transitions lower down. We'll get to that later, of course, but I think having all these very fun songs at the start, it gets you invested, it gets you very into it. If you're listening to it, as an average person listening to any form of rock in 2004, you're going to hear it and go, "Oh, this is very radio." You're going to get into it, and then it's going to go into your deeper cuts. And this is where I feel like it really shines with how that album is written, in kind of that mood shift later on. But I love it for that. Imran, I'm curious to see what you think about this song.
I mean, you guys pretty much covered this song pretty nicely. It's a fun song. I particularly did like the harmonies in the verse. I thought the chugging was pretty cool. I thought the solo was pretty unnecessary. I know you liked the solo, Jacob, but I thought it was kind of unnecessary. Like, it was a bit too much with the song. like if the song didn't have the solo, I think it would have been just fine. It could have gone without it. But other than that, it was an all right song. I don't know. I feel like I'm giving a lot of hate to Alter Bridge here, but I'm gonna have to pick Last of My Kind. Yeah, I just feel like the solo was a bit much.
Yeah, I feel bad going 3-0 Alice in Chains as well, Imran, but I think I'm going to be joining you there. Last of My Kind is probably my preferred track too, but at the start of this debate, I was thinking Last of My Kind and a Slaughter, but no, Open Your Eyes is really good, isn't it?
Mm. Uh, I should mention as well, I really haven't talked about Last of My Kind, but I love the sound of it in many ways. Different little Egyptian sounding parts of it. It's a very chunky song. I think it drags a little bit, but I think
See
my
that point,
vote is
yeah.
going to very much go to Alter Bridge in this one. And I, vice versa to you guys, I feel bad not giving Alice in Chains something because all of those songs have been fantastic up until now. So it's pretty bloody good both ways.
3-0 for me and Imran on Alice in Chains. It shouldn't be 3-0 to be perfectly frank for me, and Jacob 3-0 for Alter Bridge. But it's tough when it's tough when both songs are good. It really is.
Very much so.
Next up, Your Decision versus Burn It Down. I will start with Jacob here. For me, Jacob, Burn It Down. This one feels like a squash match. I did not like Burn It Down on the first try. I thought it was my least favourite. I've given it a second listen and I've softened on it a little bit, but I wouldn't call it the best one off it.
It's good. I think with both of these songs, I've definitely got more of a country timbre than anything else. Anything else on either album, at least. And I think if I'm going to choose between the two of them, like Burn It Down in my notes, softer open. I like it a lot. I like the soft guitar and vocals. I think Miles does that very, very, very well. It feels, you look for little images and things to put with it. For this song, it feels like the last song at a pub on a rainy night. You're exhausted, you're tired, and you're almost contemplative. Like it's that kind of vibe, which is very strange for Alter Bridge. I love the vocals not reaching a heavier feeling. They're not really hitting this crescendo that you kind of want them to. They sit very low for quite a while, but they also do feel like they're just about to break constantly. The song building up is natural. It feels very, very, very natural as it slowly climbs. In my notes, I've got Kings of Leon vibes. It makes me think of some of the better tunes from them. The drums are fantastic here. The guitar is amazing. The vocals are unpredictable again. I think that's something that I enjoy. It does get heavy. But it never gets too heavy, I feel, which is a great thing. And the more I'm talking about this, the more I'm swinging myself back to it. It's somewhat of a slower song, but I think the bridge and breakdown are where the song really fail. The bridge and breakdown are very lackluster. The build up from the breakdown and bridge is very and the solo, it's okay. The first half of this song is so much better than the second half, in my opinion, and that second half brings this song so far down, especially put up against what I think is my first, thought process when I was listening to this was, oh yeah, this is going to Alice in Chains. But I'm curious to hear what you guys say. You might be able to swing me one way or the other.
I don't know about you, Imran, but Your Decision by a landslide.
Your Decision is a very good song. The first thing I thought when I heard this song was Nutshell. Those first opening chords, part two to Nutshell. So that already kind of won me over. I really like Jerry Cantrell's vocals on this song, like a lot. I really like all of the lead guitar kind of scattered through it. It's another example of Jerry's kind of guitar work evolving. Kind of feels like not necessarily violins, but like strings in general. His like little guitar scattered through the song. Your Decision is a very solid song. I very much liked the ending as well, where they repeat the it's over, and it kind of like fades out. I thought that was really good. Definitely top 3 song on this album.
Yeah, top 2 for me.
Ooh.
Yeah, fair enough. Burn It Down also is a very good song. This is one of the first songs that really like got me like, oh, this is cool. I really liked the chord progression. I really liked the bluesy whiskey bar vocals. I liked the switch like from the verse to the chorus. The chorus is a bit kind of funky too, in that like it's a bit different from the rest of the song. I do agree that the first half of the song is better than the second half. I think it drags a little bit. This is another song that probably could have gone without the solo too. But I mean the solo is not too bad though. But I Burn It Down is a standout track for me on this album. I really liked it. It was pretty different. I think this is one of the better songs that are clean on this album. Out of all of the cleaner songs, I think this one is up there for me.
Interesting.
I don't have a decision yet though, so
I might jump in with your decision here, and it is a fantastic song. Like, as much as I've been leaning towards Alter Bridge this entire time, this song is one of the ones that I agree with Jason very much so. This is my top two songs on this album, and like the acoustic side, the almost country-esque timbre, as I mentioned before, I adore it. I think the softer vocals, the softer mood of this entire song is fantastic. It in my notes, I've got it as this gives me a very similar vibe as to the song Hurt, the Johnny Cash version, which is
Wow.
a very, very good thing because that's, of course, a fantastic piece. This song feels distant. In my notes, I've got that it makes me feel like, if you close your eyes, relax with this one, it feels like you're a sunset at a desolate farm or something like that. It's very much got that Texasy country timbre.
Wow.
I love the
Okay.
little flourishes of electric guitar in there. I thought that was fantastic. The build up and the transition were a little awkward. I wasn't the biggest fan of those. I think that's one of the few places this song struggles. I do think that after about 140 in the song, when it does build up until that solo, it loses what made it so special, which is really strange. But that solo, I adore it. And to me, I love this change of pace. I love this sound coming from Alice in Chains. This is like, if this was what I was introduced to first with Alice in Chains, like if this was the first song I heard, I would be addicted to them. This is a fantastic tune. And my vote is definitely going to Your Decision.
Same with me. I have got a very deep personal connection to this song just by the frame of mind I was in and the situation I was in at the time I first discovered this song. I got to keep in mind is that I did not try and explore Alice in Chains until probably when I graduated year 12 and was in doing my 1 year TAFE course. And even then, not really much of the Lane Staley era was connecting with me at that point. I think doing this show and hanging out with Imran has changed my tune greatly on that period of Alice in Chains.
you are welcome.
But then thank you very much. But it was just during this period of 2018 where I popped this song on and that timbre sound that you're describing and just the general vibe. I think one of the stories behind this song is that the entire intention of this song is, consequences and the decisions that you make. And the whole vibe for me felt like, well, what are you going to do now? Like, there are moments where it feels like there's hints of resentment in it or anger that hasn't been properly addressed yet. And like the post-chorus where no one plans to take the path that brings you low. That period, it has like this very defeatist attitude to it. And I don't know why, but just with the headspace I was in at that time and just thinking about the world surrounding me, I developed a really strong emotional connection to Your Decision, so much so that it is, as I was just said in passing, it's definitely a top two songs on this record, maybe even one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs in general, so that beats Burn It Down in a landslide for me. Imran, do you reckon the first half, you were saying the first half of Burn It Down is much better than the second, is it enough to beat Your Decision, or are we going to all line up here?
I think we're gonna all line up. Burn It Down is a great song. I don't want to discredit it, but it doesn't beat Your Decision.
All right, we've all taken Your Decision.
You mean all our decision? Ha.
Oh.
Yep. All right, next up, A Looking in View versus Metalingus. Now, Imran, I want to get your opinion on this one first. A Looking in View, it was the first publicly released Alice in Chains song since reforming. Like, This would have been the first piece of new music Alice in Chains fans would have heard since the death of Lane Staley, since the band breaking up. And it's a 7-minute chugger. I've got a pretty positive opinion about this song, but I think it does fade a little bit as we go on. It has its peaks and has its drops. There will be one days I love it, then there'll be other days I'm realizing, gee, this song does drag. Imran, what do you say?
Yeah. Well, if I was a fan of Alice in Chains at the time and I had found out that Alice in Chains was releasing new music and they released this song as their first song after Lane Staley's death, personally, I would have been very excited because holy crap, that intro.
Booming.
Holy crap. Evil. That's my first note here, all in caps, evil. I get very industrial rock vibes from this song. It's just massive. I love that effect on the guitar, the tremolo that like gets faster and slower. I love the bass. I love the vocals. This one is just, yeah, like you said, a chugger. It does drag. I will give you that. After the second listen of this song, I feel like maybe it's a bit too long. The middle section or the kind of later section where it's kind of mostly vocals and there's that weird lamentation from William Duval, that one part where he finds a megaphone for some reason, decides to sing through that. I feel like that part maybe could have gone without. It's a very cool song though, but I don't think it should have been 7 minutes.
To defend the 7-minute length, though, Imran, I would say if you came to my house and I showed you the stereo set that we have in our dining room and I put that song on, the 7 minutes goes by, it breezes by. But listening in this kind of environment where you're at your laptop or at your phone, you got your earbuds in, you're sitting down to chill and listening to that, yes, the song does drag on. But yeah, the megaphone kind of feel, or when Duvall gets a bit aggressive, like, it's why, oh, that was terrible, but it's why you never. The animosity in that fits the soundscape very, very nicely. Like the whole vocal delivery in general, there's just this sense of animosity. There's this sense of internal madness about the whole entire soundscape. It's very well done, but yeah, you need to be in the right mood to go through the whole 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's such a cool song. Yeah. Jacob, what about you?
So I could not agree less. I think this is maybe the weakest song on this album by a long shot, at least for me. The heavy opening, I do like it. It feels like a march through like an Arabian style town. That's a very unique sound for Alice in Chains, or by Alice in Chains anyway. But I could not get into this song as many times as I tried. I felt like the vocals were just not me. The instrumentals carry this song as far as they can. But the best way I could describe this song to me is it's boring. Like it never feels like it goes anywhere that interests me. It never feels like it gets anywhere where I can get, into it. The main riff is pretty good. I'll give it that. But same with the chorus. The chorus isn't bad, but this song just takes way too long to get anywhere. And when it does, it just doesn't hit anywhere that I'm like, yeah, this is what I was waiting for. It hits it and it's just, oh, okay. It's very slow. It's methodical. It's the kind of sound that I could not get into when I was listening to Dirt. It's part of the reason that Alice in Chains has always been that other grunge band for me. It's always been the one I just could not get into, which I know hurts you, but this is the sound I don't like from them. And it hurts coming straight out of Your Decision, which is such a fantastic sound. So I'm not a fan of this one. I'll be completely real. And on the other side of this is one of the most nostalgic songs I can think of.
Now, before you get into that, Jacob, I'm very interested in what Imran has to say about Metalingus.
Very much,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool actually. I liked the tribal jungle drum intro with the Van Halen guitar at the start. Kind of reminded me of what's that song? Everybody Wants Some by Van Halen. I thought the vocals were very cool. Kind of it's kind of got this like new metal vibe to it, like that early 2000s like heavy, yeah, new metal kind of riff. Kind of reminds me of a song actually. The chorus was very catchy, but it reminds me of this song that The first time I discovered Miles Kennedy was his time with Slash and the Conspirators, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah, the conspirators.
Yeah. I saw them live, by the way. Very good. But anyway, they've got this song called Anastasia, which I think is one of their like really popular songs. The chorus really reminded me of that song. And yeah, I feel like Miles Kennedy has that very signature sound to his vocals, and I don't know, kind of brings that to it. I thought it was a very cool song though. Yeah, lots of like Van Halen guitar inspiration, I reckon. The ending was cool. It's got that System of a Down type ending though, with the really fast pace. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
I
very
Yeah.
System of a Down.
I'm glad you're giving points to Scott Phillips and Brian Marshall there, drum and the bass, because I don't think I've ever really appreciated fully how much of a driving factor Scott Phillips is on that track. Like, he drums like a madman on that song.
Yeah, I really liked the groove and the rhythm and everything on that track. It was very cool.
Now, Jacob, before you get into your spiel about Metalingus, I've got my notes right in front of me here, and I normally have notes here to describe the instrumentation and all that kind of thing. I'm going to hold up my notes for Metalingus to the camera, and I want Jacob to read out to the listeners what it says verbatim. Jacob, could you read that, please? What does it say?
So it's a four-letter word. It says edge in full caps with a lovely little exclamation point.
Exactly. Metalingus wins.
Let's discuss it a little bit first. I completely agree. It's a very nostalgia-based one here. But I think for me, this is the song that brought me into Alter Bridge. This is the one where I heard it and went, yep, this is a sound I like. You mentioned before, Imran, the opening drums, fantastic. The guitar, fantastic. And fun fact, that guitar is, I believe, only an A chord throughout the entirety of the verses. I believe it's a five-chord song. It's a very simple song to play. Once it kicks in, it's so much fun. The vocals and guitar feel almost like they're battling, but they come together still. The vocals, as I said, shine through. It's a very hype song, and I don't know if that's because I associate it with wrestling or Edge or any returns or anything like that.
Yeah, just so we can make it any more clearer, it was the theme tune for WWE Hall of Famer Edge.
Very much so. And like even the build into the chorus is fantastic. It's a very simple song, as I said, but it's a very effective song. It's deceptively heavy sounding. Some of the ways the vocals carry on particular notes are fantastic. The chorus is fun as anything. It's exciting, easy to get into, very singable. The breakdown is different. I think the breakdown is one of the more fascinating parts of this song. Even in my notes, I got so into this in the first time I was listening to it. I even just wrote down the lyrics for the vocals. Fear will kill me. All I could be. Live these sorrows. Let me breathe. Just everything about it is fantastic. And fun fact, I've got a bit of a quote from Mark Tremonti on this song actually, and I quote: "We started Alter Bridge when Creed was coming to an end. Me and Scott Phillips were sick of everything that was going on a personal level. I wrote as much as I could and had demos for about half of the record, like Broken Wings and In Loving Memory, before I started searching for a singer. I didn't feel I was strong enough to be that kind of singer for the band. We finally found Miles and got into writing, and Metalingus came from us just jamming together. It all started with that main verse, but it all came together very quickly. I think we wrote it in a day." So this was the first song, theoretically, that Miles Kennedy had his hand in. And oh my God, if this was what he pumped out first thing for the band, oh, what a win. What a win. This song wins for me. There is no question. I'm sorry, but like,
I'm being completely biased here. I'm letting my wrestling bias dictate this one. Yeah, Metalingus wins.
Imran, where do you sit?
Look, I'm an absolute sucker for really dark, evil sounds, but you guys have convinced me. I'm going to pick Metalingus.
Yes.
On this day, he saw clearly.
I see clearly.
I think we should also just give a little bit of credit to Edge here, because I think in that same interview, Jacob, Mark Tremonti does talk about how the use of the song as Edge's theme has bridged the gap and made new Alter Bridge fans because of people hearing that
Oh,
song. So
of course. I mean, I would imagine you and me are a perfect example of that.
yes,
But it still works for
Yeah.
what it is.
it was never released as a single. It was never released meant to be anything that massive, but that one little rub, for lack of a better term, has made it their most famous song. And what a song. Okay, let's move on now to When the Sun Rose Again versus Broken Wings. This one again is a squash for me.
Ooh, I'm curious. Which
Broken
way are you
Wings.
leaning? Yeah, okay, yeah, I
Broken
kind of feel that.
Wings. My oh my, that's a moving ballad, that.
And I think it's something that Alter Bridge does fantastically on this, is any sort of moving, ballady kind of sound, and that'll only be highlighted a little bit later on. But no, I completely agree. In my notes for Broken Wings, I've got I'm a big fan of the opening melody riff. It's softer. I like that. As I said before, the opening is relaxing as anything. The vocals, perfect for it.
Very
The
delicate.
pre-chorus, yes, that's a good word for it. The pre-chorus feels different. There might be backing vocals in it. I'm not 100% sure there. The chorus feels fantastic. It doesn't just sound it, it feels it. It feels like a movie soundtrack. The vocals are the limelight here. I like the bridge. It changes up the song a bit, but not too much. The chorus, though, carries this song more than anything else. The calm guitar, fantastic. The calmer way this song is better, and the calmer the song is, it's better. The calmer the song is, the better it is, I should say. At the same time, I never feel like this song hits the height I want it to. It gets very close to it on quite a few occasions, but never hits that crescendo I keep waiting for. But still, fantastic song, and I feel like that not hitting the crescendo was done on purpose. But yeah, that's where I sit on it. Imran, yourself?
I wrote in my notes here that I really liked the bridge and I liked the outro, and I thought it was nice. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember how this song goes. I
I could hum
I
you a riff if you want.
Can you?
Hit us.
It's like that's the kind of verse riff it's got going.
Oh,
I
you know
wanted to
what? I think it's coming back to me actually. Yeah.
Yeah, when you were praising the bridge, I've got in my notes here, I didn't realize how much heavier it actually kind of sounds if you were to leave it on its own. It's in this like very fluttery ballad, but it's actually got some crunch to it, that bridge, and then it gets a bit more. Miles gives it a bit more intensity with the voice, but I agree, the outro is fantastic. It's got that little fluttering guitar lick towards the end. I think that's just a lovely little full stop to the song.
I particularly like the bass in the outro as well. I think that was the bass did some good stuff there. The song didn't speak to me though. I can putting it up against When the Sun Rose Again. This song stood out to me a lot more because of the jangly guitars, the harmonies. It very much reminded me of like later era Beatles kind of stuff. They're more kind of lighter psychedelic kind of stuff. They like even the congas, it's a very pretty song. It's a song that I'd listen to on the beach. I feel like that one, yeah.
I've gotten my notes for when the sun rose again, even that it's got a folky kind of opening. I found that very interesting. The bongo or congo really caught me. It's a refreshing sound again. It breaks up the album quite a lot from very heavy tunes to some softer ones that kind of mix that up a bit. But I just couldn't really vibe with this in the same way that I could some other things. Although I do like the Arabian Nights feeling, kind of shady marketplace style it's going for. It's a great song. I just it's one of those ones where I can't fully commit to it.
Imran?
I don't know. When the Sun Rose Again, I think just stands out a lot more than Broken Wings, mainly from the fact that I just don't remember how Broken Wings goes off the top of my head. It's one of those clean songs that just did not stand out to me on the album. Whereas When the Sun Rose Again, I don't know, I feel like had something to it that just makes me want to go back and listen to it again. I really did like this song. That's going to be my pick for this one.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
This is one where if Jacob was strongly disagreeing with Looking in View, this is the one where I'm strongly disagreeing with When the Sun Rose Again. It's not a strong one for me.
Damn.
Like, it feels very barren. It feels very... doesn't leave that much of an everlasting impression for me personally. I personally think in terms of like vocal harmony, it's only really bearable when Duvall is putting his work into it. There are moments on this record when I was writing down my notes, I'm sitting there thinking, I've always liked Cantrell's voice, but there are moments where he does sound quite nasally, and I kind of need to call that out. But it's not like I'm going to hold that. I'm not going to make that like a drawback or anything like that. But I don't know, it just feels very barren and flat for me, this track. And that's why right out of the gate I wanted to say, yeah, Broken Wings, easy victory for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Broken Wings for the same reason. Essentially, it's not that I don't like When the Sun Rose Again. It just never hits where I want it to, or feels like it really overdoes Broken Wings.
Well, that's where our scores lie. This is what debates are for, gentlemen. This next battle. This is kind of one of the reasons why I would have wanted the three of us to meet together, because I reckon there will be a few differs here, and I really want to debate this one. Acid Bubble versus In Loving Memory. I wrote down in my notes for Acid Bubble, it's probably an Imran song in terms of Alice in Chains. I am struggling whether I want to choose When the Sun Rose Again or Acid Bubble as my least favourite off this record.
Jason, I hate you.
I skip this song all the time when I listen to this record.
See, the thing is, I can see why. Like, I don't think it's the weakest. I think that's harsh, but I can definitely see why you do. Look, I'm going to be completely real with these notes. It's all going to be one-sided here. In Loving Memory, of course, the Alter Bridge piece is one of, if not my favorite song of all time. So there is a wrong answer for people on this. No, look, this song, like I've said it before, I was a fan of Bits and Pieces of Creed, but and you know, I want to hear what other people say first. So Imran, hit me with your opinion on this song first. I'm really curious.
I'm going to start with In Loving Memory because I have like 3 notes on this. All of the notes, my notes are more clean guitars, yay. Goes for a while, huh? And strings, question mark.
Yes, there are strings.
There are strings in it.
Yes.
This is another one that I just genuinely don't remember how it goes. Following another
I'm
song
tempted
that was...
to play it for you, to be honest.
Please do.
Copyright, Jacob, copyright.
I'll listen to it after the battle. Yeah, it follows another song that I thought was kind of that was also kind of a clean, not so exciting song. So my brain kind of zoned out. I wasn't really into this song. I really don't have much to say because I just don't remember it.
I'm a little hurt by that. I'll be completely real. And the fact you said that it's an song. Ooh. And I mean, look, I do see where you're coming from. It comes from a softer song to another softer song, and I mentioned that before. This album, seems to start with a fun, heavy feeling, and then slowly bring that down into a more Creedy kind of movie-esque, ballady kind of place. And personally, I love that. I think it's a great movement with the album and sound. But this song is the standout for me, and I mentioned before, it was even hinted at in a previous song. I'm going to read my notes, note for note on this. Already a fantastic opening, the guitar smoothly jumping from note to note and chord to chord. It gives off a vibe of a song before the vocals even come in, and that solo is fantastic. The guitar is heavenly, the vocals are somber, but also feel right. I can't help but feel like... Kennedy is really getting into it and really feeling what he's singing. The lyrics are fantastic, and part of why I think they're fantastic is that they're so easy to relate to literally anyone. And I think that's a strong thing to have in lyrics, especially a song you're trying to push as commercially viable. And the way the vocals and the guitar carry the first 80 seconds of the song is fantastic. Then the drums come in and add to it before it gets too long. So that 80 seconds or so with just vocals and guitar, fantastic. Doesn't drag, doesn't go too long. Drums come in just in time. And then the song transitions into a more upbeat mood as the line, "And I know you're a part of me," plays, which it's almost just songwriting in a kind of movie sense. Like it's trying to have that big moment that people will remember. And it does that well. The drums add so much to this while not taking away a single thing. The song feels upbeat while also having that somber tone to it, that more like saddening kind of feel to it. But when it kicks into that next gear with the drums getting a little heavier, it keeps that same somber tone while the song climbs, and that climb is fantastic. I personally love the guitar playing in the back as well with the melody throughout the verse. And the song dips. I love this part. The song dips just before the chorus for just about a couple seconds, but then it crescendos back up. That crescendo feels fantastic. In my notes, I've got it feels raw. I've never seen, this is one of those songs where I've never seen it live. I've never seen them live, but if I could choose one song to see live by them, it would be this one for that crescendo. And the way that crescendo stays up there without faltering or losing that is fantastic. Even when it comes back down into the verses, that transition into the instrumentation is fantastic. And then the build back up, again, fantastic. It's unexpected on a first listen. The second crescendo is somehow even more effective. The strings kick in, the guitar gets even better. The come down, fantastic. The way it finishes, the solo, even in my notes, the last note I have here is everything about this song is perfect. Like, this is the song for both of these albums. This is the one that wins it no matter what for me. So unfortunately, Acid Bubble, whether I liked it or not, it's not even getting close.
Fated to lose in the first place.
Fair.
Man.
But that's not to tear apart Acid Bubble. I think that there's a bad song surrounded by a very fun chorus in there.
Allow me to rip apart Acid Bubble then.
Ugh.
This song is so slow and so dwelling that it bores the hell out of me. It is so, and the vocals just draw it out so much more longer. It's like if you're getting stabbed in the heart by a dagger, it is just twisting it so slowly, making it even more painful. And then it transitions into this chorus riff that is so jarring and so repetitive that it loses its luster for me. And then it just goes back into that slow, drawn-out, dwelling riff. And it's like, did we even have... What was the point of that chorus riff? What was the actual point of that? At least Duvall has got some good singing ability that, is probably a redeeming feature of this. But honestly, for a song that's nearly 7 minutes, and it's so long and drawn out, this is a song that would have been a reason, if it was on the self-title, it would have been one of the reasons... It would be one of the defining factors of why I don't like that records as much as I do as the other Lane Staley records. What saves it is because if it was on the self-titled, it'd be so super condensed, it'd be so swampy, it'd be locked away in its little cave. Here, at least, it's brought out a bit, but it just trudges on. I skip this song every time it comes on.
Man, everything you just described as to why you hate this song are exactly the reasons why I love this song.
I assume
it's
so.
Slow. It's brooding. It's intense. It's a slow knife stabbing into you and twisting very slowly and then suddenly fast and intensely. Like it's crazy. It's an unpredictable song. There's even some like shoegaze elements to this song. It's a weird song and I love it.
I disagree so heavily with where you say unpredictable. It's unpredictable for the first chorus. And then after that, it becomes so, just repetitive in that chorus that it's way too predictable because nothing changes.
Well, yeah.
And nothing changes to make it interesting on the second half of the song, which,
I mean, yeah, it does kind of go back into that slow part again and then bring back the fast part at the end for a little bit. I did really like the solo in the second part though. I thought that was very cool. That was very Cantrell style solo. I don't know. I just think this is a really cool song. It's just these are my favorite. It's my favorite part of Alice in Chains is their really spooky, jarring stuff. I don't know. Up against a song that I literally don't even remember how it goes, I'm gonna pick Acid Bubble, obviously.
I'm picking in loving memory for all of Jacob's comments and for everything I said about Acid Bubble. There you have it.
I don't think I need to say where I sit.
Exactly. Score check.
Jacob picks Acid Bubble.
Plot twist. Swerve, bro. Score check. Imran 6-1. Black gives way to blue. Jacob 6-1. One day remains. Myself 4-3. Black gives way to blue.
Ooh, this has ended up being a lot more, a lot closer than I thought it would be.
I anticipated my score being competitive. I did not expect a blowout from either of you two, Jacob and Imran, so we're in for a fun little showdown for the last couple of tracks. It's going to be a case of how can the opposition make up some points. Let's see if Lesson Learned or Down to My Last does so. I was talking about earlier your decision being a top 2. Lesson Learned is the other song in that top 2 for me.
Ooh,
you reckon?
Okay.
It is, yes. It's kind of a case of frame of mind when hearing this song, but I just like the idea of picking yourself back up and dusting off the mistakes as a lesson learned, and it's got that little upbeat. There's a hint of hope within the song.
Lesson Learned is pretty. I particularly liked the more upbeat style of this song. I thought it was very facelift era kind of riff.
Yeah, good point.
More upbeat, not necessarily poppier, but just a bit more fun. I thought Jerry had some Lane Staley inflections in his voice in this song, which I thought was pretty cool. I did like his voice in this song too. Nothing about this song really stood out to me though. I think it's kind of similar to Check My Brain, where it's kind of a bit repetitive, it's the same throughout the song. It's fun, but it's not really a standout for me.
Fair.
I'm probably going to pick it over Down to My Last though, because after listening to Broken Wings and In Loving Memory, and then the third clean song in a row, Down to My Last, I genuinely thought this song was just a continuation of In Loving Memory when I was listening to
It does start off with a
this
bit more
album.
of a classic straight up rock riff, but to give credit to your argument, it does go back into that ballady style of verse.
Yeah, this is another song that I don't remember how it sounds. There's a solo in it. Apparently, I wrote down here solo. I don't know why. I might have liked it. I might have hated it.
Jacob, I've got for Down to My Last. It's another Creed-ish song. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I would make the argument that this middle section of this album is very Creed, maybe to a fault. Imran, as Imran just said, it does kind of blend in a little bit with the last two. Especially Broken Wings is a fan favorite from what I know from this album. A lot of people adore it. In Loving Memory, of course, I adore that. This song kind of feels like the other clean song. That's not to say that's bad though in any way. As you said, it starts a little bit heavier, but this one does feel a little bit heavier than In Loving Memory, and I think that's a good thing because it kind of climbs back up a little bit in that distortion and so on. The vocals are fantastic when they eventually do come in. The drums, I feel like, are in the forefront for this song, and that works fantastic for it. It's another movie soundtrack song, which, it's a bit of a problem at points, but I adore the main melody and the riff. The longer I listen to this song, the more I do enjoy it. I think on its own, it's a fantastic piece. It's an uplifting song coming out of a very somber piece, actually. And the bits of guitar that get heavier and more distortion-y throughout it are fantastic. The softer parts are really nice. This song bounces back between those quite well. The vocal melody, I thought was fantastic. The solo, I thought was super fitting and really nice. And it builds on that movie-esque feeling. Like, this feels like the part of the song that would be used in a romance movie or something like that. The breakdown, I thought was fantastic, and the build-up out of that was also fantastic. And as much as it's the third, soft, clean song, it's a bit of a sleeper hit for me. Even the finish for this song is fantastic.
I'm still taking Lesson Learned.
Ooh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I can see it. Lesson Learned is a fun song. It's just, I couldn't get into it the same way. So I think I'm going to sit more towards down to my last.
And Imran is joining me with Lesson Learned, so that was a pretty fun little debate there. Lesson Learned, a water off duck's back kind of song for me, and yeah, the fact that Alice in Chains have written a song that has some hope in it and it hooks as well as that song does, yeah, that's made it one of my favourites off Black Gives Way to Blue. This one's interesting. Take Her Out versus Watch Your Words. Take Her Out. I didn't like this song on first listen, and then I've warmed up to it, and then you realise not much happens in this song, and you go, it's like I don't know, I like it, but I'm in this very take it or leave it attitude kind of thing. Whereas for Watch Your Words, this one I actually have to correct myself here. I've legitimately written in my notes here for Watch Your Words. Imran will like that intro.
You bet. I actually really liked it's that lo-fi kind of intro, weird, it's a weird glitchy kind of sound. I did really like it. I also really liked the nu metal style riff. I thought the vocals were very interesting. I thought that little riff break, like the weird breakdown thing, was really cool. I thought it was kind of catchy. I wasn't really a fan of the clean chorus. I thought that didn't really fit the vibe of the song because it's a pretty upbeat, kind of intense song. But Watch Your Words is a very cool song. I agree, Jason, with your view on Take Her Out. It doesn't do much for me. I literally wrote here, this is a pop song and it's okay. So I feel like it's just kind of a filler track almost.
Maybe.
Yeah. I got to agree with you completely. I see that as a filler track. I see both of these as somewhat filler, to be completely honest. It almost just comes down to which one I would listen to first. Honestly, for all the reasons Imran said, I think Watch Your Words, I do agree very heavily, actually, that softer chorus, just, it feels very awkward, very out of place. Like, it feels like it should get heavier rather than softer. I don't mind it, but it's very jarring every time it gets to it. And Take Her Out, I don't know, it never gets anywhere I want it to get to. It has that deserty vibe. You know, the vocals feel like they're loosely even following the instrumentation. I like the guitar and I like the solo, and it's strangely relaxing. And that outro, I think, fantastic. But, you know, for the entirety of each song, Watch Your Words, I think, is a stronger song, but not by much. I'd argue, in my notes I've got, it feels strangely generic. It's kind of just there.
Hard disagree on that. When I do pods like these, we're at episode 21, you go through all these albums track by track, there's always at least one song that you really don't anticipate enjoying a lot, and you kind of deem that as that is my hidden gem off the record. Watch Your Words is that. That's probably my, like, sleeper hit off One Day Remains.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Watch Your Words is
Fair
one
enough.
that got stuck in my head a little bit as well. I really liked the verse. I thought the vocals were just really interesting over the top of that riff. I liked how there wasn't a solo in the song, was there? It was just that riff break.
There was a
from
bit of a
memory.
breakdown, but there's no riff. It just kind of breaks down. You get your almost slow build to it, and it never goes anywhere.
Yeah, I really liked that part though. I thought that was really cool because it kind of experiments with the riff a little bit and just kind of works around it, adds some stuff. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, this one's going to be Watch Your Words for me.
Me too.
Completely agree.
Me too. All three of us are taking it. Then Watch
Hell
Your
yeah.
Words. Again, for me, that's the sleeper hit.
Fair
Definitely
enough.
underrated on the song.
Certainly so. Certainly so. This one. Private Hell versus Shed My Skin. I'll start with Jacob here, but from note 1, Private Hell weighs you down. This, I've got here in my notes, I'll just say it. It's the bleakest chorus I've ever heard.
Oh, I agree that there's a bleakness to it, but I kind of saw that very differently. My first note is, quote unquote, ooh, soft, almost romantic opening. It's very different to everything else here. And for some reason, when I listen to this, I can't help but feel like this is the further it gets into it, more so, but um, it feels like something you'd hear in a very cheesy 80s romance action kind of flick. And I kind of really enjoy that feeling for it. The vocals are a little bit weird. They work, but they also don't. I don't know why they work. It's very strange. I love the relaxing and slow nature to it. It's very unique feeling. This is probably the sleeper hit for me from Alice in Chains. The chorus does get faster, but it's still very relaxed. The guitar is very simple but climbing constantly. The drums are fantastic here and easily the star. The soloing throughout the piece is pretty bloody good. As I said, it feels like an 80s romance movie, and it feels like a very refreshing breather from some of the heavier stuff within this tune. Within this album. And I really, really enjoy that. The Life is Short vocal at about 3 minutes 30. I thought that was fantastic with no effects. It just stood out. And it's really, I found it was really easy to lose myself in enjoying this tune. The breakdown, it fits the song, it's a smooth transition, and it makes sense, and is the outro. Everything about this song, it just makes sense to me. It doesn't scream fantastic or anything, but it screams, it makes sense, and it's very good.
Whereas Shed My Skin, Jacob, what do you say to that?
Oh, so this song is another one where I feel like it's a little bit throwaway, unfortunately. The acoustic guitar at the start, I enjoyed the acoustic guitar opening, the soft feeling of that. The vocals are strange. Again, they work, but they don't. And it's a bit more of a push back into that rock feeling a little bit later. Again, movie-esque, but I also felt like this was generic. I didn't mind the chorus. It was a bit and the transitions between the chorus and verse I thought were pretty bloody good. The softer parts are definitely the stronger parts of this song. The drums, fantastic. It's a very simple song. The softer bridge, I thought that was fantastic. The build-up was good. Very short, though. And I don't know, this has the problem of half of this song is fantastic. The other half feels very generic. There's bits and pieces here that I adore of it, and bits and pieces where I'm just like, I could skip this. But I do like the almost choir-esque sound at the end of the song, though. I think that was unique and very strong for the song.
Imran, your thoughts?
I'm going to start with Private Hell because I had a completely different image of what this song was in my brain to you, Jacob. I thought this song was the most bleak, cold, like depressing song on the album. It's got the ambient droning guitars in the background. Very much reminds me of a black metal song almost, in which it's like not the brutalness of it, but the ambience of it. Like it just reminds me of this apocalyptic snowscape almost. It's really, I thought it was very dark, especially the clean guitars over the top. I thought the vocal harmonies were really nice, but it's just it was a very cold, drudging, slow, bleak song. I liked that they painted the picture of that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember much else apart from the fact that it was cold and depressing. It's probably something I'd listen to on a rainy day if I was sad or something. Shed My Skin, I thought would have been better as a clean song, which is interesting because I've not been a fan of the clean songs on this album. But yeah, I think this would have done a lot better if it just like stayed with that acoustic feel. I did like the soulful lamentation towards the end of Miles Kennedy. His vocals on this were pretty good. But yeah, nothing else about this track really did much for me either. Both of these tracks were kind of just like, yeah.
Despite talking earlier saying Your Decision and Lesson Learned being my top two from Black Is Way to Blue, that's the person you're speaking to now here when we're recording this in September 2021 and I'm age 21. If you go back to 2018, at 18-year-old me, Private Hell was my favourite song off this record, and it had been for a little while, just from kind of relating to the reasons Imran was talking about. Especially like when you're up at night and you kind of turn the lights down, you let that play and you just let your mind wander to that being your soundtrack. And yeah, it hit, it was the right song at that particular time. And that for quite a while. It was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to have a copy of Black Gives Way to Blue in general. But ever since then, as times have gone on, this song is, yeah, this song reminds me of a headspace that would be nice to never return to, but out of respect for it, I think I will end up taking it.
Yeah, I
Fair,
think I will
fair.
too.
I'm going to agree with that completely. I'm on that too.
Private Hell it is. I am fascinated by the whole idea of a romantic soundtrack kind of thing. I've never thought of that as an interpretation before, and that's somewhat got a bit of curiosity about it.
It's weird because it doesn't. I should make clear that it's not a happy romantic song. It very much feels like the romance part where everything's fallen apart. It feels like that piece.
I do see that point because I think Jerry Cantrell has talked about how that song is kind of inspired by love to a certain extent, and I had forgotten about that element of the writing for that song. But when you're feeling, it is a song because I amuse myself. I'm used to my little cell. I amuse myself in my very own private hell. Not to bring Creed back into it because obviously it's a very recurring theme here because of Alter Bridge and that. But like lyrics like that, you kind of think that's kind of like the mental image that my own prison builds. You've created your own prison inside your head. That's kind of the connotation I can get with Private Hell too. I reckon you could make that argument is that can be the sort of connotation.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. It's one I'm definitely thinking I might have to listen to again once we're done here.
It's a fascinating track. It definitely easily beats Shed My Skin there.
Hmm.
Definitely one of the most unique tracks I think on the album in terms of like painting a picture just with the sound. I thought it was very interesting.
Now, with all that debate, it comes to an end here. Closing track, Black Gives Way to Blue, the title track for Alice in Chains. Up against The End Is Here. Very interesting closes here. I think we'll start with Imran on this one.
I'm gonna start with The End Is Here because firstly, aptly named title. Props to the genius who decided that The End Is Here should be the last song on the album. Absolute genius move. From the beginning of that song, one of the most interesting clean songs on the album, or in terms of like the clean part of the song. Um, this one sucked me in a little bit. I really liked this one. The chorus I thought didn't particularly fit the vibe of the rest of it. Uh, um, the break, the the heavy in it, like the weird chuggy part, I thought was pretty cool. Maybe could have used without the vocals. Otherwise, very interesting. It was an interesting song. Interesting way to end the album too. Yeah, I don't know about this song being the end. I probably one of the other clean songs that I don't remember, but yeah, song. I probably would listen to this one again on the album. On the inverse, Black Gives Way to Blue, another very interesting song to end an album with. I believe this is the shortest song on the album. It's like 3 minutes long or something. Very depressing song. It's a very nice, pretty song, but it's depressing. I believe this one's about Lane, so understandably so. But yeah, I liked the slide guitar at the start. I liked how the piano kind of comes in, like it everything kind of builds in this song up to the end, which is it's a because it's short, it's like it's just nice, simple, to the point. I like the parts where like the guitars and the vocals line up and the harmonies in the second verse. Everything just kind of works in this song and flows really nicely. Yeah, it's a really nice song. Another song that I would definitely listen to. I don't know if it's my pick yet, but
This is a toughie. I think my initial thought was to go towards Black Gives Way to Blue, because it's, to be honest, it's maybe my favorite song on this entire album. It's just very different. It's soft. It does that very, very well, and it handles what it does very, very well. But you've got a point with The End Is Here. It's also a very good song. I think the part that stands out to me the most and the part that comes to mind the most is like there's almost like a duh, 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 duh kind of thing to it. Maybe halfway through the middle of it. It's very strange in a way, but it also fits it, which doesn't make sense to me in a way. It doesn't feel like it makes sense to me. My notes on The End Is Here. Weird opening guitar. I'm not the biggest fan of that. The strumming comes in. It's very ominous. And once the drums kick in, we get the song. It's soft, but it's eerie. It kicks up well. It feels mysterious. It almost takes a bit of a note from Alice in Chains, and I start feeling like an Arabian town kind of vibe to it. Something I've only really ever felt with Alice in Chains in the past. The vocals are pretty bloody good. The guitar is nice, and this song feels very final. I found the bridge to be busy, but somehow not too busy. This song is weird because it's almost a reverse of the Goldilocks effect in that it's sometimes way too busy, sometimes not busy enough, but it's never just right. It never gets there like I really, really want it to. Or we're on the inverse of that, Black Gives Way to Blue. It doesn't feel like there's a lot going on there, but there's a deceptive amount going on there. In my notes, soft, distant opening, I adored that. The two guitars in the opening are lovely. The vocals are fantastic. The growls are subtle, but they add so much to it. The third guitar comes in after a while, following along with the vocals. I thought that was fantastic. The piano in it, I thought... It surprised me a little bit to hear the piano, but it was very effective and not busy and added a lot to it. Everything seems to just blend together in Black Gives Way to Blue in a way that no other song on this entire battle seemingly does. It doesn't hit the fun or anything like that I think the others do, but it just blends really, really, really well. And I would be remiss to say that this is probably my favorite Alice in Chains song. My only complaint, really, is that it's too short, which that's honestly a good thing. Obviously I enjoy the song long enough to want more of it. So,
Can we just address who's playing piano here? Elton John.
is
What,
he?
really?
Elton John played piano on this track.
Bro,
Huh.
who decided not to tell me this?
Well,
I'm picking Black Gives Way to Blue.
I was already
Just
decided
by the Elton
that
John
doesn't even give it
factor.
the chance.
Dude, I love Elton John.
Yeah.
I know there is a Black Gives Way to Blue piano mix as well, so I'm not quite sure which version it is. If you do know the answer to that, fact check us, facebook.com/Metal Standoff pod. But yeah, Elton John on piano.
Jeez.
Huh.
Black Gives Way to Blue serves a specific purpose, which is let's have a moment of respect for Lane.
Definitely. I think the fact that it's the shortest song, that it's just a little song but fits so nicely right at the end, I think is just perfect. There's nothing more that needs to be added. There's nothing that needs to be taken away from it. It's, yeah, like you said, everything meshes together perfectly. It's Black Gives Way to Blue.
Jacob?
Complete agreement. Black Gives Way to Blue is, I don't want to say easily the better song, but I would choose it over The End Is Here pretty much instantly.
I feel like it's a song to seek out more frequently. The End Is Here would be for me, but just for respect factor, I think it is probably going to go to the title track for me, personally. Not to say The End Is Here is a bad song. Probably would seek it out a bit more over the title
I really
track.
liked The End Is Near. End Is Here, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad song
yeah.
by any margin.
That was a very interesting song. I'd probably listen to that again too.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be Black Gives Way for me, just for out of respect. And we've got Elton John on there, and it's very solemn. It's very fitting. It's a fitting ending to what I would arguably say my favorite Alice record.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
In all fairness, and I think this is where this Alice in Chains record does well. I'm not the biggest Alice in Chains fan. I've made that very apparent. This record is the one that makes me turn around and go, actually, I like a very good chunk of this album. And this is the one that's convinced me to maybe go back and give some albums a try.
Black
I
Gives
think...
Way to Blue is a weird album name.
Oh, very much so. Um, but yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic album, and I think if you're not the biggest fan of Alice in Chains, or it's just not something that's never really hit you, it's the one to go to, and it might drag you in. So I mean, it does that very, very well, and I think that last tune is part of why.
I remember on the previous Alice in Chains podcast, Imran and I would be doing. It would be a bit of a bone of contention to say that Black Gives Way is my favorite. Now, Imran, that you've finished listening to this album for the very first time, where do you see that sentiment now?
I don't blame you for saying it's your favorite. I kind of understand now. I wouldn't say it's my favorite though. It's a great album, but yeah, definitely not my favorite.
And other than that, yeah, we finished One Day Remains. There's some really good music here to be found. It does bug me that I do have this strange fleeting memory that I think I might have been in a JB Hi-Fi one day, and I said to, and I when you go into the music section where there's CDs and all that kind of thing, I had to have been a kid at the time, like 11 years old, something like that. I'm not sure if this event's happening or if I'm just dreaming up something in my head, but I do feel like there was one time in JB Hi-Fi I saw Alter Bridge and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the band that do Edge's theme, and I went looking for the record that had the song on it to show my dad this is the song that is Edge's theme. I reckon if I had bought that record that day, I'd have been a much bigger fan of Alter Bridge now, and I'd have a massive respect for One Day Remains, but alas, not to be. It's now this and AB3, the first two Alter Bridge records that I've listened to from start to finish, but that's not to say, like, well, Watch After You, or Watch Over You, sorry, or Blackbird, Show Me a Leader, Addicted to Pain, Wouldn't You Rather, all across the catalogue. They make phenomenal music, Alter Bridge.
Very much so. Very much so. It's a band that, for me at least, I've always kind of known about. I've always been like, oh, I have a respect for them, but never really, gone to seek out any full album or anything like that. I had dabbled with AB3. I think I got most of the way through that, and really enjoyed that. But I don't know. It's nice to dabble into this first album and really see where they evolve to. Because things like "Wouldn't You Rather," I enjoy quite a lot of songs off that. So like, it's a nice travel back in time for them.
Well, and with that being said, let's tally up the results. We're at the end here. Surprisingly, I didn't expect this to be, but I am the deciding factor, so I'll save myself till last here. We'll start with Imran. Alice in Chains gets the point. 9 points to 2.
Ooh,
Damn.
9
Was that
points
even
to
a
2.
surprise?
Black Gives Way. Jacob, One Day Remains, 8 to 3.
it's not overly surprising.
Okay. The winner of this battle between Black Gives Way to Blue and One Day Remains, which rests on me, is Alice in Chains 7 to 4. It got competitive for me towards the end, but Alice in Chains walks away with a win on this one. 2 to 1 in grand points.
Very much so. It's a fantastic album.
I think this is also a nice redemption arc, because I'm sitting here thinking, the three-way Alice in Chains, I don't think won. The self-titled Against In Utero, go back and listen to that one, because that one got quite close. And then another one that got extremely close, Facelit versus Bad Motorfinger. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, true.
Alice in Chains get close. I don't think they've gotten any... I don't think they've come out on top on either of them. If you want to find out, go back and check. But here we are with an Alice in Chains victory up against Alter Bridge.
I've finally done it.
I don't know what else to say, gentlemen, other than the fact that, I guess your decision, lesson learned. I think now with where I'm at now, Last of My Kind probably rounds out the top 3. One Day Remains, I don't know, what are we saying? I think Metalingus, Broken Wings, Watch Your Words. What's everyone else's top 3?
I think for not for Metalingus, for Alter Bridge and One Day Remains, I think I'm going to go with One Day Remains, Metalingus, and In Loving Memory, and the other way around. So for Black Gives Way to Blue. It's a toughie. I think my mind is going to give it to All Secrets Known, Black Gives Way to Blue, and your decision in no particular order.
For Alter Bridge, I will probably have to pick Watch Your Words, The End Is Here, and Metalingus, obviously. Alice, Acid Bubble, obviously. Last of My Kind, and When the Sun Rose Again.
Very eclectic mix. Great records. Great records. Other than that, yeah, Jacob, thanks very much for coming back on the show. Last time you were on, it was just a Christmas special. You were part of my team over at Moshpit. You're now in charge of the gaming show Player One. So give us all the information we need to know about what Sin's gaming show Player One is up to as of now.
Yes, so if you want to catch Season 4, which promises to be what we're calling actually the All-Stars season of Player One on Sin, please check in every Monday at 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. For the newest and latest and greatest in video game news, opinions, some fun quizzes. Fun fact, actually, and I've been meaning to thank Jason personally, voice to voice, Player One kind of took the quiz from Mosh Pit and evolved it in our own style. So that was if you missed that kind of content, have a go over there. It was kind of fun over there. And we've got some special interview stuff coming out very recently. We had one with Howard Scott Warshaw, the man who made the E.T. Atari game, that famously actually crashed the video game market.
You got him for an interview.
Along with... Yes, we did, and it is fantastic interview. That'll go up soon. Speaking of metal, if you're into metal things, we have one of the premier metal cover blokes in the industry right now for video games, Family Jules or Jules Conroy. I did an interview with him ages ago. Go check them out. Go check out what my team is doing, because I'll be real, they've been fantastic all year, and I'm sure they'll enjoy your listen.
And I hope that the metal community and the gaming community can keep the bond going, and I hope we can see you once again on another battle in the future. Jacob, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Imran, welcome to co-hosthood.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here.
See you on the next battle, guys.
See you, boys.
Black gives way to blue gives way to a win, and for our new co-host, a new appreciation for modern Alice in Chains. And a new appreciation for the band in general for our guest, Jacob, who we thank for chatting with us for this battle. He's also proven that while it's only until now that I've properly invested some time into exploring Alter Bridge, I should continue on that path. Both of these albums for me were great fun to talk about. And thank you for listening to our chat. If you enjoyed it, you can stay up to date with the show at facebook.com/Metal Standoff Pod. And have a listen to like-minded metalheads over at our weekly radio show, Mosh Pit on Sin, Thursdays from 8 till 10 p.m. on 90.7 DAB Plus digital radio, or from your preferred device at syn.org.au. That's all for now. Until next time, metal up your ass!